A man sits across from you at a kitchen table in Medellín. He's calm, well-dressed. He sets an envelope on the table in front of you. Thick, sealed, heavy. Then he places a single bullet next to it. He doesn't explain. He doesn't need to. You are a Colombian judge. You have a family. You have a home. You have a career you spent 15 years building. And right now, you have exactly two choices. Plata o plomo. Silver or lead. The bribe or the bullet. This is how Pablo Escobar controlled an entire country. Not with armies, not with speeches, with an envelope and a bullet on a kitchen table. At its peak, the Medellín cartel moved 80 tons of cocaine into the United States every single month. 80 tons. That's more than the weight of 10 full-grown elephants every 30 days, crossing international borders. They weren't smugglers. They were a government. Here's how it actually worked, from the very bottom to the man who made judges choose. Level 1, the lookout. Level 1, compañero. Weekly income, the equivalent of $50, more than your father earns in a month. Risk. If you miss a signal, a man appears next to you and reminds you what happens to boys who make mistakes. You are 13 years old. You grew up in the comunas, the hillside slums of Medellín, where the streets are too narrow for police cars, and the cartel has been the only government most people have ever known. A man named Chucho finds you outside your school. He doesn't recruit you. He offers you a fact. He tells you there's a corner 2 blocks from your house. He tells you the corner needs eyes. He tells you what the eyes get paid. You show up the next morning. Your job? Watch the road. That's it. A police truck gets 1 whistle. 2 whistles means army. A hand signal means strangers, men you don't recognize, which in this neighborhood means federal investigators. You memorize the signals in 40 minutes. The training takes less time than a school period. What takes longer is learning to look like you're doing nothing. You lean against a wall. You eat chips. You watch. Every vehicle that turns onto this street, you clock. Color, make, whether it slows down, whether anyone looks out the window too carefully. Some weeks nothing happens. The street is quiet. You collect your money on Friday and go home. Some weeks a vehicle slows at the wrong speed, and you signal, and the street empties in 90 seconds like it was never occupied. You are 13 years old, and you are a piece of infrastructure. One afternoon, a boy 3 corners down misses a signal. Federal police walk into a warehouse and find 200 kilos of product. You don't see that boy again. You never miss a signal. Level 2, the runner. Level 2, corredor. Weekly income, $200. Risk. If you're stopped with product, you are the product. The cartel sacrifices runners without hesitation. You are replaceable. The cocaine is not. 2 years on the corner, no mistakes. Chucho notices. You move up. Now you carry things. Packages wrapped in black tape, the size of a hardback book. You don't know exactly what's inside. You do know, but you don't say it out loud, even to yourself. You carry them from one address to another address. You memorize both. You never write them down. You travel by foot or by motorcycle. You take a different route every time. You never use the same route twice in the same week. If you're stopped, the package doesn't exist. You dropped it. You found it. You've never seen it before in your life. This answer costs you jail time. The alternative, cooperating, costs you something that cannot be recovered. You learn the geography of the city through its back routes. Which alleys connect which streets? Which market corridors are too crowded for police to move quickly through? Which neighborhoods the police avoid entirely because the cartel's presence there is older and more established than the government's? One evening, a package you're carrying is heavier than usual. You're 2 blocks from the drop point when a police officer steps out of a doorway directly into your path. He looks at you. You look at him. You tell him you're going to your cousin's house. You name a street. You keep your face flat. He steps aside. You complete the delivery. You walk home and sit on the edge of your bed for an hour without moving. The next morning, you show up. You always show up. That is the thing Chucho is watching for above everything else. Not intelligence, not speed, not even nerve. Reliability. The cartel runs on reliability the same way a factory runs on it. Level 3, the sicario. Level 3, sicario. Income, $500 per job, rising to $3,000 for priority targets. Risk. Your life expectancy from the day you take your first contract is statistically under 5 years. You are now a weapon. Weapons get used until they break. This is not a promotion you asked for. A man named Pineda comes to your neighborhood and asks for you by name. He has heard things about you, your reliability, your nerve. He takes you to a house outside the city. There are 8 other young men there, all from the comunas, all around your age. For 3 weeks you train. Not like the military. No uniforms, no parade ground discipline. Practical. You learn to ride a motorcycle at speed through narrow streets and fire without slowing down. You learn which caliber of weapon leaves which forensic trace, and which streets have cameras and which don't. You learn the value of a second vehicle following behind. The shooter on the motorcycle, the backup in a car to verify the hit, and extract the shooter if anything goes wrong. You also learn the most important rule. You never know the client. You never know why the target is a target. You receive a photograph, an address, a time window. That is the total information. Everything else is operational noise that gets people killed. Your first contract is a man who runs a small business in Laureles, 40s, reading glasses. He parks his car in the same spot every Tuesday morning at 8:15. You do not think about who he is. That is the rule, and the rule exists because it works. Sicarios who think about targets make hesitation. Hesitation gets both of you killed. Tuesday morning, 8:15, 22 seconds from the moment he gets out of his car. The motorcycle is already moving when it's done. The backup vehicle confirms. You are paid that afternoon. The Medellín cartel killed over 1,000 police officers this way, 200 judges, 3 presidential candidates. The sicarios who did it were mostly teenagers from the same hills you grew up on. Some of them were 12 years old. You are 17. Level 4, the Plaza Boss. Level 4, Jefe de Plaza. Monthly income, $15,000 to $30,000, plus a percentage of everything moving through your territory. Risk. You now appear in DEA intelligence files by name. You control 6 blocks in one of Medellín's most important distribution corridors. You manage 40 men, lookouts, runners, 2 sicario crews, and a network of business owners who launder money through their cash operations. A restaurant that reports 3 times its actual customers. A taxi company whose drivers transport product under their seats. A pharmacy whose back room holds more than medication. The money flows up in one direction. Every week, you collect from your territory and send a percentage to the man above you. He takes his cut. It goes up again. By the time the cartel's profits reach Escobar's accountants, they have traveled through so many hands that tracing them is effectively impossible. The cartel spends $2,500 every month just on rubber bands to bundle the cash. They write off 10% annually to rats eating the notes in storage warehouses. You handle problems at your level so they don't reach the level above you. A runner skims product. You handle it. A business owner decides he wants to stop laundering. You sit with him and explain, very calmly, very specifically, why that decision has consequences. Most people reconsider. The ones who don't become a message that everyone in your territory reads without needing it explained. One morning, federal investigators establish a surveillance position on the roof of a building at the edge of your plaza. You know this because one of your lookouts noticed the same 2 men eating breakfast at the same cafe 3 mornings in a row. You don't move the operation. Moving signals that you know. Instead, you route everything around that corner for 2 weeks. Clean operations only in the sightlines of that roof. After 12 days, the investigators pack up. They haven't seen enough to act on. On day 13, your operations resume exactly as before. This is the job. Not violence, information. Knowing what others know about you and staying one step ahead of that knowledge. Level 5, the lieutenant. Level 5, lugarteniente. Monthly income, $80,000 to $150,000. More than you can spend, more than you can safely bank, more than you can explain to anyone outside this world. Risk. Escobar has killed lieutenants personally for skimming, not ordered their deaths, done it himself, with his hands. You answer directly to Escobar's inner circle now. You coordinate supply across 4 plazas and 2 transportation networks. Cocaine arrives from coca fields in the jungle, processed in labs hidden in the Amazon, where the Colombian military cannot easily reach. It moves north by truck to Medellín's distribution network, then out through routes your level manages. In ship containers labeled as ceramic tiles, in frozen fish shipments, dissolved in wine, packed into the wheels of legitimate freight vehicles. The logistics alone require the coordination of hundreds of people who never know more than their single piece. You also manage the political relationships. Escobar's philosophy is simple. Every official has a price, or a family. Plata o plomo, applied not just to judges, but to mayors, customs officials, military commanders, and airline employees who looked away from cargo manifests. Your job is to maintain these relationships. Nothing about that corner will. To ensure the monthly payments arrive, to escalate problems when an official gets replaced and his replacement needs to be assessed, to flag anyone who seems to be cooperating with American investigators. The DEA has been operating in Colombia since the early 1980s. Escobar hates Americans in a way that is specific and operational. Every DEA agent in the country is known to the cartel by name and by photograph within weeks of their arrival. One evening, your supervisor calls you to a meeting. You drive to a location you've never been given before, a farm outside the city. In a room with 6 other lieutenants, a problem is discussed. 2 cartel members have been skimming revenue, not small amounts, significant amounts, over several months. Their names are Fernando Galeano and Gerardo Moncada. They are also in this room. What happens next takes 4 minutes. Galeano is killed with a pool cue. Moncada does not leave the room. The message this sends moves through the entire organization in 24 hours, without a single phone call. You drive home. You check your own accounts twice that night. Everything is correct. Exactly correct. Plata o plomo. The Colombian Supreme Court justice gets the envelope on a Monday. Inside, $250,000 in US dollars. Attached, a single photograph. His daughter walking to school. He has 48 hours to rule on the extradition case before him. In 1991, the Colombian Constitution is amended to prohibit the extradition of Colombian nationals to the United States. Escobar spent years and millions of dollars making that happen. When the amendment passes, he turns himself in voluntarily. He's smiling in his mugshot. He built his own prison. Level 6, the boss. Level 6, El Patron. Personal wealth, $3 billion in 1989, approximately $9 billion in today's money. Forbes lists him as the 7th richest man on Earth. Risk. There is a $10 million US bounty on your head. The DEA, the Colombian National Police, the Cali Cartel, and a vigilante group called Los Pepes are all simultaneously hunting you. You sleep in a different location every 3 days. You negotiated your own imprisonment, not as surrender, as strategy. In 1991, facing extradition to the United States, the one thing you have always said you would die before accepting, you make a deal with the Colombian government. You will serve time, 5 years maximum. In exchange, no extradition, and the prison will be built to your specifications, at a location of your choosing, staffed by your own guards. They agree. The prison is called La Catedral. The guards joke it should be called Hotel Escobar. It has a football pitch, a casino, a jacuzzi, a disco where you host wedding receptions, a rotating bed, a kitchen that serves caviar and fresh salmon. You receive over 300 unauthorized visitors during your imprisonment, including active criminals, politicians, and cartel associates. You continue running the cartel from inside. Operations don't pause for a single day. Then you make a mistake. You summon Galeano and Moncada to La Catedral over a revenue dispute. You kill them inside the walls. Their widows go to the press. The government learns you committed murders inside your own prison. They send the army to transfer you to a real facility. But you mortared one section of La Catedral's outer wall with deliberately weak concrete during construction, an escape route, built in from day one. When the army arrives, 400 troops surrounding the facility, you walk out through the weak section. You disappear into Colombia. The manhunt lasts 17 months. On December 2nd, 1993, you are hiding in a middle-class house in Los Olivos, Medellín. You are on a radio call with your son when the Colombian search block triangulates the signal. They trace it to the roof. You are hit twice. One shot behind the ear. You are 44 years old. The man who made governments choose between silver and lead died on a rooftop with no deal left to make. Level 7, the cycle. The cartel doesn't end with Escobar. The Cali Cartel steps into the vacuum within weeks. Then the Norte del Valle Cartel. Then the FARC runs the coca fields. Then the Urbaneños. Then new names, new structures, same roots. The United States currently consumes more cocaine than any country on Earth. In the comunas above Medellín, a boy leans against a wall on a corner. He watches the road. He has a signal for a police truck, a different signal for the army. He earns more in a week than his father earns in a month. He thinks it's temporary. They always think it's temporary. In 40 years, nothing about that corner has changed. Nothing about that corner will.